A double murder that was so gruesome that even the judge said,
"This is the worst case I have ever seen as far as the facts go. For the rest of my life, I'll be haunted by what I saw as far as the evidence and just the abject cruelty of it all."
"This is the worst case I've ever seen, and I'll be haunted for the rest of my life." This is a case that reminds us that the world is full of monsters with friendly faces. Hi there, I'm Raphael, and welcome to Shadows of Truth. Today we're talking about a tragic case that began on the night of March 18th, 2018, in Riverview, Florida, when 33 years old Kenyatta Barron desperately called 911.
911, what's your emergency?
I'm shot, help me. I'm shot, help me, please, Jesus, help me, I'm shot.
Okay, what's the address of the emergency, ma'am? What's the
Hello?
address? What's the address of your
I'm
emergency?
shot, help me, please.
What's your address? What's your address,
My boyfriend
ma'am?
shot me, help me, please, he shot me.
Where?
911, what's the address of your emergency? What's going on? What's going on? I think I got gunshots fired at 4365 Rose Garden. I think I just heard 3 shots. Possible warrant at the address. Hello? And I heard him say, call the police, and I'm not hearing anything else. I got, hello? Now I'm hearing music.
While the call was going on, operators on the other end of the line heard a woman pleading for help as she was being bludgeoned to death. A male voice could also be heard in the background saying, "She killed me. Don't come outside. Call 911 now, and Allah Akbar." The 911 call ended shortly thereafter. 8 minutes later, a second 911 call came in from the same location.
911, what is your emergency?
Hey, I just been attacked by some white demons inside, and she tried to kill me, and
What's the
I just
address?
killed her stupid ass.
This time featuring a male caller claiming to have been attacked by white demons. "I'd just been attacked," accusing Kenyatta, addressed as KK in the call, of trying to kill him. "KK tried to fucking kill me and killed her stupid ass." Deputies arrived at the home at 11:49 p.m. to find a woman, later identified as Kenyatta Barron, dead in the front yard of a neighbor's home. A little boy of 8, later identified as Ronnie Oneal IV, staggered out of the burning house with multiple stab wounds and burns. The boy told detectives, "My father shot my mother," before being promptly transported to a hospital for treatment. On getting inside the house, firefighters discovered the body of a 9-year-old girl, later identified as Ron Nevea O'Neill. She had been hacked to death with an axe, and her body sets on fire. The man of the house, Ronnie III, resisted arrest until he was tasered by police. While inside the squad car, he called his murdered victim, Kenyatta, the devil, and said, "The kids are the devil's kids." He was booked into Hillsborough County Jail the next day. Now, let's talk for a minute about Kenyatta Barron, the woman found dead on the neighbor's driveway. Kenyatta, who was also fondly called Kiki by friends, was actually Ronnie's ex-girlfriend. Ronnie and Kiki were not together any longer, and Ronnie had been seeing another woman who he had a more recent child with. However, Ronnie was shot in a random drive-by in 2017 and was nearly killed. After he was released from the hospital, his family wouldn't allow him to live with them, so Kiki took him in and let him stay with her while he recovered.
And I knew that she just out of the goodness of her heart let you come stay with her. And it is beyond tragic that that critical decision ended in so much horror for her and for her children. It is unspeakably cruel.
Now let's take a second and let that sink in. Kenyatta, out of the goodness of her heart, invited him to come stay with her even when his own family rejected him. And that critical decision ended in so much horror for her and her children. This brings to mind the saying, "Be careful who you invite into your home or who you give easy access to." Because no matter how in control you are, it only takes one clown to destroy everything you had built. Ronnie was later evaluated by 3 medical doctors and was determined not to be mentally competent to stand trial. He was removed from jail and spent time in a state hospital. But, after more mental health examinations, he was later deemed fit to proceed with the case. The trial began on June 16, 2021. Ronnie declared that he was going to be representing himself, despite multiple warnings and advice by the trial judge, Judge Michelle Siskos, that he should engage the service of a competent representative. Ronnie insisted he was going to represent himself and prove his innocence. His surviving son, Ronnie IV, testified as a witness for the prosecution. The little boy, now 11, testified that he saw his dad, shot his mum, she stumbled outside and he chased after her with the shotgun. A minute later, his father came back inside the house, went to the garage and retrieved a hatchet and went into his sister, Nevaeh's room. He dragged her by the arm into Kiki's bedroom. There he hit the disabled girl in the back and the head with the hatchet. "And I saw her eyes roll," the boy said. "Wow, this is just heartbreaking. I'm a pretty tough guy who's seen and heard a lot in my time. But to hear the immense suffering inflicted on this little girl, who already had a lot to deal with in her life, was too much to take. The poor girl was born with cerebral palsy and was also diagnosed with autism. She was nonverbal and had struggled to walk. Yet, her own father showed her no mercy. Now, I must commend that little boy, Ronnie IV. This was a boy, stabbed in the neck and abdomen multiple times, to the point where his intestines were visible. The boy showed immense courage and strength when he came out to testify against his father. Kudos to him. I was moved to tears as I watched his cross-examination by his father. Ronnie asked his son, "Did I hurt you that night?" The child answered, "Yes." "How did I hurt you?" Ronnie asked again, and the child answered, "You stabbed me."
Did I hurt you that night of this incident?
Yes.
I did. And how did I hurt you?
You stabbed me.
In his defense, Ronnie and his attorneys filed motions claiming that Ronnie was acting in self-defense, in accordance to Florida state's Stand Your Ground law. However, the judge rejected this request, finding Ronnie ineligible for a Stand Your Ground defense. Watching Ronnie parading himself in court as his own lawyer in his closing argument is a true example of the saying that he who represents himself has a fool for a client. This guy literally admits to the murder, but his issue was that the prosecutors were lying about the sequence of the crime. He said, and I quote, "I did kill Kenyatta Barron, but I want you to tell it like it is if you're going to tell it."
Because I want you to know the actual facts. I did kill Kenyatta Barron. But I want you to tell it like it is if you're going to tell it.
Honestly, I have never seen a closing argument as bizarre as that. It's like saying, "I didn't hit the person in the car crash, I was just driving the car that hit him." On June 21, 2021, just over 4 hours after deliberations began, the jury found Ronnie Oneal guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of attempted first-degree murder, 2 counts of aggravated child abuse, 1 count of arson, and 1 count of resisting a law enforcement officer. Ronnie sat quietly and did not appear to react as the jury foreman read the verdict at 7 p.m., just over 4 hours after deliberations began. The family of Kenyatta Barron also took the stand and were able to speak from their hearts. They told Ronnie what they've waited 3 years to say. Dysata Barron's words, Kenyatta's younger sister, was for me the most touching of them all. When you sit in that cell for the rest of your life, remember you don't leave out until you're in a box. So when you sit in a cell every day, 24 hours a day, that's scream. I want you to hear it, she said, referring to the 911 call where Kenyatta was screaming for her life. When she comes to you in your dreams, I want you to receive it. On July 23, 2021, Ronnie was given 3 life sentences without the possibility of parole.
But this is it. And I'm going to mete out the punishment that I think this case deserves. All right. So with that, on count 1, Mr. Oneal, I will adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to life in prison with a minimum mandatory of life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Plus 90 years, running consecutively. Reflecting on the case during sentencing, Judge Michelle Cisco described it as the worst case she's ever seen in her 19-year judicial career and described Ronnie's actions toward his daughter as abject cruelty. That is the tragic story of Kenyatta Barron and her daughter Ron Neveah. Throughout the trial, Ronnie showed no remorse, no empathy or conscience. Instead, he tried to blame everything on his traumatic upbringing and background. But hey, he's not the only person to have had a hard childhood. Plenty of people have. They didn't go on to commit murder. So whatever he went through in his life, it is no excuse to go on a killing spree. Now, let me be clear. I'm not a death penalty advocate, but if there was ever a case where someone deserved the death penalty, it's this one. This is not just about the way he slaughtered his family, which was gruesome, but the way he made a circus out of the court process, and his lack of remorse for his actions, when even seasoned firefighters were brought to tears at the crime scene, was just too much for me to stomach.
I am not sorry for something I didn't do, and I am not sorry for the things I did do.
Mr. Oneal,
All right.
Listen, stop.
All right.
Listen to me.
I'm not
You're not going to raise your voice again.
I'm not going to raise my voice again.
I am not sorry for something I didn't do, and I'm not sorry for the things I did do, he said, as he yelled towards family members in the courtroom. At the end of the day, guys, the brutal murder of a loved one is a tragedy no family should ever have to go through. Like I've always said, when a life is taken, especially one so young, it is not just a death. It is also a robbery for the family left behind. You have robbed them of all the things that could have been. So friends, whatever you do in life, always be careful who you trust. Even the devil was once an angel. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Raphael, and this is Shadows of Truth, and I will see you in the next one.